What is up, IT friends? It is Monday. That means it is Spicy Monday. And I want to talk a little bit today about incentivized referral programs, and I guess sort of by extension, NPS. These programs don't really work the way that you think they work, but you should still be doing them. Look at that. See, I'm being less negative. So the concept, pretty straightforward, pretty well understood, and I think we can all agree pretty sound, is that if I offer a product or a service, and I have somebody that is happy consuming that product or service, there's a good chance that if I look for other people that are similar to that happy person, those people will also be happy. That's pretty much, I guess, defined marketing. It works. We know that that works. And so given that most of us don't have the ability to put that sort of messaging on Super Bowl ad or a massive series of billboards, or we don't all have Threat Locker money to be in every airport. That's been kind of cool to see, Threat Locker. What's the next easiest step? Well, if I have clients that I somehow am measuring are happy to consume my services, that's where NPS comes in. And I specifically say to those clients, can you please go and tell your friend about, who's also a business owner, about my services and how happy they would be? I'll give you something for doing that. That's where the incentivized referral program comes into play. And those incentives can, of course, be a whole variety of things. Could simply just be a thank you and a firm handshake. Maybe it's a discount off their bill. Could be actual cash, which is probably the simplest. Could be something kind of crazy. But it makes sense that this would be easier. And on paper, sort of in laboratory environments, it is. It makes all the sense, which is why we see most sales and marketing platforms, consultants, and agencies recommend a form of this, because on paper, this works really well and is common sense. The thing is, the reality doesn't actually work that well in practice. And unlike my normal posts where I tell you to just don't do it or write it off, that's not what I'm saying today. I do think you should be doing these programs. I just think you need to make sure that you're doing it in a way that's going to actually set you up to be successful, and that you're not looking for a magical silver bullet that's somehow going to magically fill the top of your funnel. I would like you all to share an assumption with me for the remainder of this video. Most small business owners, and go so far as to say most business owners, small and medium and large, are not very good at sales and marketing. I know, I'm sorry. And that's not because you can't be good at it. It's just that that's not why you started a business. There is a small percentage of you that are very good at sales and marketing and looked for something you could sell or market, and that's why you started a business. But most businesses are not started because of that. They're started because you're good at doing a thing. You're good at making a product or performing a service. You recognize people will pay you to do it, so you start doing it for money, and then sales and marketing is something you kind of fall into. And they know this to be true because, at least in our space, that's probably the main thing that holds most MSPs back from just hand over fist growing and becoming nationwide. It's kind of hard to sell. It takes a lot of skill and effort and work to do it well. And especially if the service that you're selling isn't incredibly well understood, dialed in, and fills a very clearly defined pain point that everybody has. And unfortunately, as much as we'd like to believe that to be the case, IT is not like that. It takes some skill and some nuance and some practice and some resources to really, really be good at it. So let's accept for a minute that not only are you not naturally gifted at it, most of your clients are also not naturally gifted at selling. That's important. File that away from me. If we look at a far simpler product that uses the paid incentivization strategy, look at something like my dog's collar. My dog has a GPS tracking collar. And so this GPS tracking collar, very straightforward, pricing on the website, couple of clicks, you're signed up, you own it. Fulfills a very defined purpose and need. There are a couple of competitors, very clearly explains what it does or doesn't do versus the competitors, all in one place. Don't need to talk to anybody. Don't need to do a significant amount of research. I just need to decide that I want that type of collar. Because it's so consumable and easy to understand, and it's so commonplace, because every dog needs to have a collar. You can't have a dog that doesn't have a collar, I think, anywhere I can think of in this country. It is very reasonable that if I'm happy with my dog collar, another dog owner over the course of the next calendar year, or let's limit it to just a quarter, is likely to say, what kind of collar is that? Are you happy with it? That's not happening with your MSP services. I think that's important to remember, that you do not have, I almost am certain of this, you do not have your pricing on the website. You do not have what you do so well defined that there is just a simple statement of work with a price listed that I can click to buy without talking to you, because that's just not where the space is at right now. So you don't have that. You don't have a basic battle card on your website that ranks you against your two local competitors, very clearly breaking down what you do well, what they do well, and what the delta is to allow somebody to self-identify that they are a best fit for you. You don't have any of that. And most importantly, while we would all agree that the need for small businesses to have IT support and security is a universal need, small businesses do not see it that way because there is no regulatory body pushing it. Remember, I talked about dog collars. Dog collars are regulated. There are laws that say you need to have them, or I know plenty of dog owners that would never put a collar on their dogs. So we don't have any of that. But yet we're assuming with these programs that our clients are magically going to be able to articulate what we do and how we've helped them do it, exactly what we cost, going to be able to figure out who the exact type of business is that's the best fit for our services, and they're going to communicate all of that and get that person ready for a warm introduction who is at least more than casually thinking about buying from us. And we think that by offering an incentive to do that, that is going to, let's not even say fill our funnel. That's just going to contribute to filling our funnel. Right. When I phrase it that way, it sounds a little bit insane. Part of the trap I think that we fall into in the MSP space is we see a lot of our vendors do programs like this that many of us have benefited from, right? Many of you as MSPs have probably recommended another vendor tool that you use their incentive program and probably gotten some sort of reward for doing that by referring them to another MSP. And so at face value, you're like, this works, and it works in our industry. Except think about what I just described a minute ago. You're an MSP. Even though you're going to probably argue with me that your MSP is unique, fundamentally all MSPs have basically the exact same needs and are doing the same thing. You're recommending it to another MSP. You're not recommending the product to a random auto mechanic. You're recommending it to another MSP who has the exact same problem you have, that you understand very well. You understand the revenue model an MSP has to follow, and you understand how money flows in an MSP because you run one. And so you've been able to, and remember as well, part of your job is identifying small business challenges. So you've used all of that to then say, pick tool A over tool B, it's better. And your friend is going to trust you because they're your friend, and they're going to pick tool A over tool B because they trust you, and you will get your referral check. That's similar, but that's not what's happening with your MSP clients. And I will illustrate by way of an example. Before we get into that example, I also just want to point out, in case anybody listening to this is doing this successfully, there are absolutely MSPs that have incentivized referral programs that are crushing it, but they're doing the things we're about to talk about. And I don't think that's most MSPs. Let's pick the most universally agreed to be frustrating vertical in this entire space: dental. If I'm an MSP and I have dental clients, and I've gotten to the point where I have decided that I want to go get more dental clients, I know I do a good job because my existing dental clients fill out NPS surveys, constantly giving me a high score as a net promoter, and they tell me they're happy, and they keep re-signing, and I have very low churn. So all the factors indicate to me I'm good at supporting dentists. They like me. So I make an incentive program, and I ask all my dental clients to please go out and refer to me another dental practice, and I will give them some reward. And I sit back thinking, this is smart. And then I get maybe over the year 3 or 4 leads from that whole program. And let's say we do get 1 sign up. Now, 1 sign up's not bad, by the way. That's not bad. Good job. That wasn't what you were thinking when you started it, right? You were probably thinking that you would have like 5 to 10 qualified leads a month, maybe 3 to 5 appointments from that, and that you'd maybe close 1 new dental office every month as a result of a program like this. But that's not happening. How come? Let's think about that from the MSP's perspective. So you've done a good job of figuring out what kind of client you're good at servicing. Does that client know why you're good at servicing them? And before you rush and you say, yes, they love us, they think we're great. They do. They do think you're great. They think that you know their software, and they think that your support is friendly and easy to consume and prompt. And hopefully they feel you have a fair price. They do think those things. From their perspective, that's your job. I went to a dentist and the dentist cleaned my teeth. That's the dentist's job. So if you ask me, could you recommend a dentist that's better than my current dentist or something like that, I might be like, my dentist cleans my teeth. But see how that's kind of a weak referral, because that's sort of kind of the whole damn point. They're supposed to do that. And what I think happens to a lot of MSPs who even have managed to find their niche, their vertical, and have a repeat model of making that vertical happy in this dental example, which for the record is not most MSPs. Most MSPs have not even gotten to that point. Is we don't understand that our clients don't really our clients don't know exactly what it is we're doing that's making them happy, specifically as connected to business outcomes. And that's the most important part for the referral. So the MSPs you see that are running these referral programs that are doing really, 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 really well, they are not only dialing in exactly what they do, aligning it to a very specific set of businesses that they constantly keep happy by being experts in that line of business, their software, how money flows through their business. They're also doing a very good job of making sure that that business, in this case, that dental office, very clearly understands the impact that that MSP is having on their business. That MSP is coming across as a strategic partner that is helping that dental practice achieve its business outcomes, not just being reactively pleasant. Almost every MSP is reactively pleasant, guys. I know you may not agree with me, but they are. Your competitors really aren't terrible. They might not be as good as you think you are, but your competition in terms of providing reactive technical support, even a Best Buy service desk, is acceptable in this day and age. Most places I can go and pay for technical support, the overall level of pleasant, courteous, prompt service that likely reduces, if not fixes, my problem is commonplace and is now average. That cannot be the only reason that your MSP gets referred over another one, because every MSP around you is doing that. I know you may not agree with me, and you may think that there's some local MSP next to you that has, some element of their business that's really terrible, but I would return with a rebuttal of, do they have clients? Yes, they have clients. So no, they're not as terrible as you think they are. That's not enough. Go back to that original dental example. Not only does that MSP have to know everything about the vertical they're supporting and clearly communicate it, they got to make up for the fact that they're not able to do what that dog collar could do. They don't have their pricing on the website. They don't have a very niche, discrete scope of work. They don't have a battle card explaining why the 2 other MSPs they're competing against are better in some areas and worse in other areas. You don't have those things. So you need to make sure that what you're asking that dental office to refer is easy to refer. You cannot rely on the natural selling capability and motivation of that dentist to do it for you. Because as we said earlier in the video, most small business owners, not great at sales and marketing. It's not your strong suit. And you are asking someone else now to sell and market on your behalf based on their experiences. And the thing is, that doesn't work in a vacuum. So that MSP that is getting brought up on stage at your sales and marketing event that is winning, that is growing their business from doing this, they're doing other stuff. They're doing other stuff to make that easier. They're making it very, very easy for those referral clients to be able to refer them by minimizing the amount of work those clients need to do. First and foremost, the more discreet and repeatable and similar your offering is client to client, that's helpful. That's about as close as you're going to get to that defined bulleted scope of work and battle card. But if all of your clients are supported in service basically the same way, that means that I can ask any of your clients what that service experience is like and get a similar answer. That's step number one. Step number two is that MSP is making the extra effort to learn that client's industry. So not just learn, for example, what do dentists need from an IT provider? How do dentists buy anything? How do they buy a new imaging machine? How do they buy a milling machine to make, crowns in the office? How do they hire staff? What do they do to arrive at all of those needs? Where are they buying from? Who is advising them on what to buy? Those MSPs are going to those trade shows, to those events, and they are speaking at them. Because now your dental provider is not only saying, I have a great experience with my MSP, but my MSP spoke at the last dental convention about, spear phishing attacks against dental secretaries and why that's important. You're making it easier for them. That MSP is likely doing other marketing within the environment they are targeting. I have a friend who runs an MSP who is currently doing an incentivized giveaway like this for referrals. And this MSP is constantly getting on the local news station to talk about cyber events over and over and over again. And they are tying it back to their specific subject matter expertise. So now their clients not only have to recommend their favorite provider, they're recommending their favorite provider who you can also see on the news, who you can also see over here, who is also known to be an expert over here. It's making the whole thing easier for the clients to do. You take all that information and come back to the idea of what business value and outcomes you actually arriving at for your client. And remember, keeping them secure and supporting and fixing their printers and stuff like that, that's your job. You no longer get a gold ribbon for doing that. That's your job. You were supposed to be doing that. You don't get a trophy for that anymore, MSPs. That is the bare minimum. So that MSP that's been really engaged with that dental provider, and remember, I'm using dental because it's the vertical we all hate. So if you can do it there, you can do it anywhere. That MSP that's engaging with that dental provider, that's having those regular strategy meetings, that's helping them plan a budget, that's helping them forecast a replacement schedule, that's helping that dentist say, hey, let's figure out how we're going to help increase your butts and seats with your hygienist to increase your revenue so we can get you to a point where I can get you to pay for that network upgrade that I need to make supporting that new machine that you want, dentist, less painful for both of us. That level of involvement where those business outcomes are being achieved and the dentist is being taught about how to think about their business in a technology first way as it relates to their revenue. You can damn sure when I ask that dentist to go tell their friends about that, they're going to be way more likely to do that. And that's the last piece. You have to tell the clients who they're talking to. Remember the meme Microsoft sending out the NPS survey of how likely you to recommend Windows 10 to a friend or a colleague? And the meme is, Microsoft, I need you to understand people don't recommend operating systems to each other. Well, here's the thing. Generally, in a B2B conversation, we don't tend to just go out of our way to recommend other vendors unless we're asked. Unless somebody specifically asks you, we don't tend to go out of our way to recommend vendors for something, because who does that? Right? And I went back to the example I gave of the dog collar. I'm not going around telling everybody, get a 𝘊 collar, it's the best GPS tracker. When y'all say to me, hey, how are you capturing that info about Lily? Or what is that thing you're using to let you know where Lily is? Or what kind of collar do you have on Lily? I see in the picture. I'm being asked, and therefore I'm able to answer. And I know for a fact that in that dental example, the other 5 or 6 dentists your dentist hangs out with, they're not all asking every quarter, who's your IT provider? It's not coming up some other element of conversation is coming up that might involve IT, and what you are relying on is your dentist is going to understand what you do for their business so well and be so proud and excited to be associated with your brand, they're going to offer it up. And that is not a common thing. So you need to tell your client exactly who you are looking to have them offer that up to, because you are taking just a little bit of work off of their plate by doing that. So if you said to them, hey, any of your dental friends, tell them about my business, well, that's not great. It's better than nothing, but that's not great. Instead, what you want to say is, you know, hey, Susan, any other dentists that you run into that are in the New England area, that's where I am, that use Dentrix, have IDEX for all their imaging machines, and are also trying to do the same thing you are with crowns while you wait in their office, especially if it's a dentist that, in your opinion, really likes technology. They always have the latest cell phone and gadgets and gizmos. That's who I'm looking for. That's who we make happiest. That's the kind of dentist I'm looking for. If you know anybody like that in New England and you think they could benefit from the same things we brought to your business, the same optimizations, the same reliability, the same level of support, everything you love about us, I am looking for more of those people. And I know you're going to be at, you know, Dental Con in New Hampshire next month. I'm going to be there too. If there's anybody while we're at that show together that you could introduce me to, that would be amazing. If not, I can't wait to see you there. And by the way, for anybody that you do introduce me to that comes and meets with me, I will knock off, you know, whatever, next month's bill, whatever the giveaway is. The point is, you got to do a lot of work to get to that level of a pitch. And it's not just, hey, if you recommend me, you get $1,000. I hope you all have a fantastic week. If you are trying to overcome any of these sales and marketing challenges, and you are going to be in Vegas this week, we have ScaleCon going on, and it is stacked with people that provide this kind of advice. You should definitely show up. And if you don't already have a ticket, just show up at the booth. It's at the Link Hotel. Just show up and tell them you want to be there. I'm sure they'll figure it out. They're here, will take your sign up info or whatever. They're not going to tell you can't get help. If they tell you can't get help, tell them I referred you. I don't get anything for it. But, you know, point of the video. I hope you are all doing NPS surveys. Please do not forget, CSAT on a per ticket basis or per employee basis is important, and response rate and all of that is useful. You want to collect that, but you also do need something going out on a recurring basis to your decision makers and influencers at your clients that asks them that question on a scale of 1 to 10. How likely are you to recommend us to a colleague? You should all be doing NPS. You should absolutely have a call to action for the positive NPS that drives them to leave a review somewhere publicly like Google or Clutch, because that will help you in the future. You should keep track of everybody who's left you that positive NPS so you can start figuring out who your referral network might be. And if the NPS is negative, you should have a call to action there too, and you should talk to them and find out, because somebody who is unhappy with you and willing to tell you is somebody that you can still turn into a net promoter. But somebody who is unhappy with you and won't tell you, my friend, you have already lost that client. No matter what, keep moving forward. I am not suggesting anybody here not do an incentive program if you want to do that. Just want to make sure everybody understands you have to put in work for it to work the way you have seen those people who have just knocked it out of the park. It is not magic in and of itself. Have a great Monday.